Okay, that's the intro music. Can you hear that fading down? All right, that means we're good. And we're back and we're in the bunker once again, the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast. Fresh from the Track Nationals, and can I just go a little bit off script straight away and say you and Scott McStory rocked it, but your microphone socks were possibly the coolest microphone socks.
Oh, the green and yellow. Yeah. That was Merksy.
Outstanding.
You know, green and gold, Australia.
Hi, Merksy.
Yeah, hello, team. How you going?
Mate, the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast would not be complete without you painting microphone socks and doing everything else you do.
It's good.
Yep. I'm just fact-checking my rundown here, just making sure that the start list match the people I've picked for favourites. You know, nothing like a bit of last-minute prep.
It is Spring Classics time. Now, Henk Vogel's not with us today. He's been to Taiwan. I think he rode 5 laps of the country and they've said you have to have at least one day off. So
at least.
He's cooling the hammies.
Yes.
We're going to get his tips, though, because there's something about Henk Vogel's and Spring Classics that makes you just want to hear what he has to say.
They're just synonymous, aren't they? They go together. He did send us a couple of pics through of him in Roubaix, like in anticipation. It's, you know, a week and a half away. He's covered in mud, but his hair looks perfect.
Yeah.
No mud in the hair. It looks like he's just come out of the salon.
Untouched.
I don't know.
So he went to the Taipei bike show, and I reckon he's just hungover. That's why he's not here.
Could be.
It's taken a week.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, Merksy, just putting you under the bus here, but we'll be able to, with Henk's permission, I'm sure, share some of these action photos at some point because they're worth checking out. The Warrior in full-blown kit. This time wearing clothes, which is a little bit different to the shoot he did for the Sydney Olympics. So it's good to mix it up. Now, can we start? We're going to go through and preview everything today. You are a very busy lady. Very important work with AGF. I'd just like to get an update from you. The Amy Gillett Foundation, what is the latest? I know that you've been petitioning, campaigning, cracking heads, and can I just say, taking on journalists who don't do their homework. And I love that so much.
Yes, I have. It's been a lot's going on at the foundation because we're in a really formative time where we're trying to really nail down the strategy and move the gauge where we can. Yes, I have started quite frequently writing cranky notes to journalists.
Mm-hmm.
The one you're referring to in particular was in a fella in Adelaide in the Advertiser. And it was pretty much just a hate piece on cyclists that was really unbalanced and no data included, no statistics, very skewed. So I clarified it. Yes, Merksy. No, he. Good question.
Yeah.
He was actually in the Northern Territory. Yes.
Proxy writing.
And look, he did reply to me. You can go to my LinkedIn if you want to see the full letter. He did reply to me, but a bit saucy. He said, well, what's your position on cyclists registering? And I thought, oh, he's just after clickbait. Yeah. I mean, we will comment on anything, but not in a clickbaity way. So I think we need to be careful.
Overarching, basically, bikes versus cars, but a very car-tilted sort of view. And I will say one thing. He had a case study, a lady who had lost a loved one, a husband, in a bike accident. I feel like he misrepresented his case study with the way that article went. And I think it's the job that you're doing and the people that are in the space are doing to just sort of raise awareness. The way you went about it wasn't combative. It was, can I please respectfully add some statistics and some data to what you're saying to just give a little bit of balance?
That's it. So, for example, 73% of accidents or incidents, that's important to use that wording correctly, between cyclists and motorists is the motorist's fault. And that's data-backed and research-backed. That's not just what we pluck out of the air.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have that fact in. Easily Googleable. Is that a word? Googleable? We'll go with it.
It is now.
It is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think, I've written quite a number of letters. That was just a particularly nice one I wanted to share. But to police, I've written to them a few times in the way that they've reported after accidents. Like, for example, in Perth, we had 3 deaths within 10 days in January. And there was a fella who rode the same road to work for 15 years and was killed in an incident with a truck. And the commentary from the police, like the accident reporters, were, it's a reminder for cyclists to be safe. And I thought, well, for 15 years he's been doing the same thing and been safe. So isn't it a reminder for everybody to be on the lookout? Like, I just think it is our responsibility to be the squeaky wheel and get that done. But this week I had a trip to the nation's capital.
Okay.
Yes. I was not getting involved in election business.
I was going to
so
say campaign mode.
No, but I went and met Carla Hoogveld, who's the CEO of ANCAP.
Yep.
So they're our safety rating body, but it is not mandatory. So cars can choose to be rated or not. But there's factors like if you want to be in the Australian fleet car system, you have to have a 5-star ANCAP rated car.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very big incentives. So I was chatting to them about all of the vulnerable road user features on new cars, how we can beef that up, how we can make cars safer for cyclists, because it's all part of a puzzle. You've got infrastructure, you've got, behaviour on the roads and mutual respect, but technology plays actually a really big part.
Of course it does.
So it was really interesting. So I can tell you that the BYD Shark is the safest car on the road in Australia for vulnerable road users.
Is it now?
Yeah.
What is it about it? What's the feature?
Yeah, and so that's pedestrians, cyclists and motorcyclists.
Yeah.
And it goes across a number of areas that they test.
Okay.
One is head impact if you hit the car. Another is dooring prevention.
Okay.
So whether it sounds an alarm, if there's somebody moving into blind spot, it kind of uses blind spot technology.
My brother just bought one. He's just bought one. And he gave me a drive. When I opened the door, it said caution. Pedestrian approaching.
Okay.
It's really cool.
So it might be audible warnings.
Yeah.
Some of them actually prevent you opening the door until there's a second open.
Okay.
And so it means that if you're in an emergency situation, you can always open the door, but you have to be conscious and it alarms you to not be able to do it straight away. And often by then the cyclist will have passed.
Yeah.
And so that's safety. And then also in autonomous emergency braking situations. So it is really interesting. But here's a fun statistic for you. In car accidents, 73% of accidents happen with cars that are 10 years or more older.
There you go.
Right? So a really big part of the solution is updating the Australian car fleet, which is not easy in a cost of living crisis. But you can see very clearly that enhanced technology plays a really pivotal role in safety.
These are such good discussions, and I don't think for any point anyone from AGF or any advocacy group is trying to talk about combat, talk about malice and hostility. We're trying to talk about working together. So these are really, really cool conversations. Don't know what any of this means for Merckx's beloved 72 Tirana, but sorry, mate. We don't make the rules.
It means he should take it down to the local track and that's about it.
But just before we move on, the purpose of balance, I will point out that for all the important productive discussions you're having, analysis, technology, data, harnessing what we have and what we can use for the fleet, Harris Farms was having a 40% off sale that day, and we needed to drive some traffic to that ad because they're only paying month by month, and we need them at the top of the site. So that story just had to run, Kate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
good.
with you.
Wout van Aert, he doesn't come up in this show very often at all, but there are so many headlines. I couldn't do it. I tried to get through it with a straight face. There are so many headlines at the moment around Wout, and it's just not the Wout that we love.
No, he's
What's
but
happened?
he's not really there.
Wout's out. He's had a tough start to the year.
He's had a very tough start to the year. We've been kind of waiting and anticipating that he'll be able to come good. He rode on the weekend Dwars to Vlaanderen. He was in a break.
He was the favourite.
It was meant to be the comeback, right? This was the fairy tale. Wout, look out.
Yes.
How'd that go?
Well, Visma, Lisa Bike, they had 3 in the break. Of
certain
4.
Certain win.
And he cramped in the final, and Nielsen Powless took the win.
And he said he was being selfish.
No,
well, it's like
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but I think the context of it is that something's off. He's just not himself. While we put the expectation on him that he's still, the animal and the winner.
Yep.
I don't think he's putting that on himself at the moment. And so I think it would be psychologically quite a difficult road for him where on one side he knows how he's feeling, on the other side he's got the weight of expectation from fans, from team, which is all balanced differently. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the form could be building for Flanders and Roubaix, but equally, I don't think that I would safely put him in a position, call him a favourite anymore.
It must be hard
sad
seeing his rival winning everything, Mathieu.
Yeah, that's interesting, Merksy, because I think they have an incredible respect between them, but they've also got this incredible rivalry that started when they were kids racing cyclocross. And something I did notice was in all of the footage, and this is from the teams putting out on social media, etc., his wife and kids are there. And you've heard Peter Sagan, this one's for you, Merksy, over the years talk about how becoming a father really changed him, and he lost a bit of that animal instinct on the bike. And it's certainly not a criticism if that's got something to do with it, but considering the number of injuries, considering the number of falls he's had, he's human. And those moments of hesitation can cost you quite dearly, especially when that was always your secret sauce to win the races. But yeah, I mean, he's such an exciting rider. So beyond him winning like those big attacks he does at the Tour de France over Ventoux and on days that you don't expect him, that's what I love most. It's actually not the winning for me, it's his style, and I hope that picks up and continues.
Is it the sort of thing we could be sitting 12 months from now and going, gee, what about that? Geez, he had us all fooled at the start of last year and then came back and did it all.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess that's a result of him being so consistently high performing over the years.
He seems to have been in the headlines for a lot, not bad headlines, but not all related to his work in the saddle on race day a little bit. And I'm wondering if the brand of Wout, the phenom of Wout, not that we buy into it here at all, do we, Kate, has maybe become a bit of a distraction, like you see with a lot of big ticket athletes.
Remembering that in Belgium, cycling isn't a niche sport. So it's not just reported in cycling media. It's not just,
everywhere,
maybe on the back page in a little corner of the sports section. It's mainstream news and media. And he's being slammed a fair bit. I mean, they're saying now that from now on he won't even be looking at winning races. He'll just be looking at maybe getting on the podium. That's
what
harsh.
A withering takedown that is, though. It's like you could have said so many awful things, but that is the most awful at all. How dare you take me off the top of the podium?
Well, it's a balance between realistic reporting, and I always say it, in the cycling media space, and we talk about it a lot here, we're not here to be cheerleaders. Like, we might think people are super people, but if they have crap form, it is what it is. It's not a personal attack, but it's a very fine line, very, very fine line, reporting on that. And, not every journalist is his bestie. So.
Well, just in, guys, from our mate Hank. He said, Flanders, Van der Poel for the win with Van Aert second and Podgy third.
Oh, he's got him. Hank's already relegated him.
But
to second.
Yeah, but at least he's got him on the podium.
He's got him on the podium. So is that okay? Like you said, building, but he seems to have been a little more off the pace than someone who's taking stepping stones to the club. Do you know what I mean? Like he's a little bit further behind than you would be even if you were.
Yeah, I guess it's
yourself.
Like not going to be a fence sitter.
Yeah.
But having a balanced view, as you get older, your preparations and your trajectories look different. So you don't perform in the same way. Your strengths change a little bit. Maybe you can't hit peak form for the same amount of time. You might not be able to run as lean for as long. So some people have been commenting on his weight, which I just think, seriously, stop talking about athletes like that in any regard.
Yeah.
And so if he does really pull it out in the next couple of weeks, we've just learned that he's a bit older, he's evolved a little bit more, and this is how his body's reacting. If he doesn't...
Pull what out?
Then
his form.
His form.
Oh, his form. Sorry,
Results.
I didn't know what you meant.
Yeah.
Eye roll, big eye roll.
Form is phallical.
If you're watching, you'll see my eye roll. If you're listening, you won't. But I'm telling you,
it's
there.
Do it again.
We haven't spoken about team harmonics yet. Not here at the wheelhouse. Let's have a little team. We haven't really. Is there an elephant in the room? Team, athlete, bigger. Collision course. Are we all good? Are we happy?
I think we're all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think so. I mean, time tells, hey?
Well, he's good enough to be doing better.
Yeah, he's achieved so much.
Yeah.
And dial it back to business terms. He's given them enough of a return on their investment that they hope to milk him for everything. But if it just doesn't happen, so be it. You know, I think they have to treat every season almost as the last season they can really count on the results. And then from then on, it's a bonus.
Yeah. And it was probably like 6 or 7 months ago on this very podcast, we were having conversations about the future Wout basically owning the team and owning the sport and being this guy and that guy. And it's like, let's just remember he's still competing for the team.
Yeah.
He's still a contracted rider
There's
for the
always
team.
a lot of conversation about the future of athletes when it's a long way away.
Yeah, and it's a big benchmark. We're setting a really big bar. Anyway, speaking of big bars, Merksy, what do you like for... No, I'm just kidding. So let's move on. Okay, so let's recap the women's Elisa Longo Borghini once again. One of our absolute favourites. What can you say?
Sensational. She won by 29 seconds, attacked with 30 kilometres to go. And it was just one of those big diesel attacks where despite them trying to claw her back, they just had no chance. She's just in incredible form. Like it wasn't a big team effort. Like the team, of course, supported her wonderfully, but in the moment where she attacked and went solo, it was all her. So it was very, very impressive. They were 16 seconds behind at the finish. And for the Aussies, Lucy Fidios, I really want to point her out because she came in 23rd. Now she's riding, she's 24, it's her first year racing in the World Tour. She's with a Pro Tour team, Saint Michel, but they get a lot of World Tour starts. For her to be right up there amongst it, in the same group as Ruby Roseman Gannon, who was 26th, incredible ride from her. It's really wonderful to see. And she's got Ella Simpson, another young Aussie, and Emily Watts on that team as well. They're headed to the Tour de France because they're a French team, wild card as a Pro Tour team. It's really, really exciting.
That's awesome.
It is so good.
That's awesome. On Longo Borghini's performance, did you see enough to think that she might threaten the holy duo and also seckle them? I don't know what I was trying to say when I got to seckle them. We'll get to it.
I think it was a really big flex.
Yeah.
Certainly. And we spent a lot of time talking about Demi
and
of
Lotta.
Course.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Lotta Kopecky came in second. Elisa Balsamo was in third. So these are the big names. But I think around Classics time, in the same way as for the men, other than Strade Bianchi, most of the rest of the Classics don't really suit Demi Vollering. So it's the Balsamos and the Longo Borghinis that are the biggest danger to Lotta Kopecky. So, and also Lorena Vibes and Charlotte Kool.
Yep.
You know, the more sprint type riders who are a bit faster but can also, you know, really hang in the, let's be honest, crappy weather and crappy conditions in spring in Europe.
Okay. Can I just mention a quick side note because we're talking about racing in Europe this time of year. Cobbles, Luke. If you ask AI to do a version of Cobbles based on a description by Henk Vogels, what do you get?
I don't know. Who's Luke?
Oh, sorry. Not Luke. Merksy.
Yes. Go
Merksy,
again.
what
Yes.
do you get if you AI the Cobbles?
Oh, baby heads.
Yes.
Okay. Can we just quickly...
Yes. Henk described, when they say it in Dutch or Flemish, it essentially translates to babies' heads.
Okay.
Kinderkopjes.
So the AI does... Okay,
and so when you put that into
I'll
AI...
show it. It's ghastly. Here it is.
It's horrific.
Absolutely
There you go.
ghastly. So
Oh, my God. That's AI for you.
For anybody thinking, I don't need to get a design agency anymore, ChatGPT is going to do it for me. Good luck. I say good luck.
Yeah. High five with my 7-fingered hand on that one. Okay, good to clear that one up. Now let's go. We're talking about attacking for 30 kilometres out. Yeah, it's pretty good. Podge has had some pretty good attack distances this year.
Yeah, the long ranger.
Loves the long range, 50k plus. Not bad from Mads Pedersen, 55k solo.
Yep.
Not terrible at all.
No, for his third win at Gent-Wevelgem.
Yep,
His
just showing off.
teammate said it was probably a bit of a dumb move.
That's the equal all time now with the with the trifecta.
But see, I love it because they say, a bit of a dumb move, maybe not think. And to be honest, as a team director, there ain't no team director saying, your best chance is to go solo with 55K to go.
Abandon everyone.
But
that's old school racing, right?
It is, and fortune favours the brave. And this is where I am on side with not having radios. And they do have radios, but when they talk about whether they should or not, too much radio control from the car would completely poo-poo this kind of
absolutely
incident.
It would. Yeah.
And so I love it. It's opportunistic and
it came off.
Bloody work, didn't it?
What was it about the occasion? The fact that he has said that could have been stupid, not something I'd do every day. Why did you do it that day? Was that this is my event? I own this event now.
I don't know. There's some races, some moments where honestly, you get a bit bored.
Yeah.
And you're like, is something going to happen? I feel really good and I want to do something with it.
Yeah.
And there's some races where you have to be very, very patient. Yeah. But there's others where you're like, may as well give it a crack. He had 45 guys chasing him, a 45-strong bunch that couldn't catch him. Tim Merlier was second. Jonathan Milan was third. They're big, strong, powerful riders.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been around forever, Mads Pedersen.
Yeah.
But how old do you reckon he is?
Put me on the spot,
What a
Merksy.
question, Merksy.
On a week where you know that I'm under it.
I'll tell you, he's 29. 29.
There you go. See, I was furiously Googling. I would have said
62, but he started riding when he was 4.
I thought early 30s because
I just feel like he's been around forever.
Early results, but he had some really big results very early because he won the World Championships in 2019. And so based on that, I thought maybe a bit older, but my maths is clearly not my strong point today. But he's a big talent, but I like his personality more than I like his talent. Like
I love that he has done this, but then the self-talk he's reporting is basically saying, what have I done here? I won't swear because we are a PG show, but S word, I've effed up again in making the move, and then an hour and a half later winning the race, and then being asked, what'd you do that for? I don't know.
And I love the camaraderie in the team where his teammates happy to say to media, that was pretty dumb.
Yeah. They're all just going, we're not with
offense.
him. As just demonstrated, we're not with him. He's on his own.
No, big engine and big heart.
Yep. Pretty stupid. I hope he doesn't do it again.
I hope he does.
We want you to do it every time because it's really, really good to watch. Okay, now can we talk about Primož Roglič? Are you happy to pivot into our favourite sticky tape man?
Well, it's kind of like classic Primoz is back with a win in Catalunya, like low drama, high
impact.
Did he ever leave? Oh no,
Yeah,
but
he
it's
kinda did,
I think when we've been talking about Jonas and the little dummy spit he had about the temperature, and everybody's watching out for when Remco Evenepoel is back from his dooring incident, and I think that sometimes Primoz just doesn't always get remembered as a favourite until he does something like this, and we're like, oh, that's right, but it's just classic him. I love it. Like, he's a really solid racer in the same way as Mads has a big engine and a big heart. I think that's really how you describe Primoz. And you know what I love? I love that when he wins, he still does his ski jump. So cool. Like, consistency. I like that.
He's 100 feet in the air every time.
I love it. Flying high.
Has he sent a message? Is this his like, hey guys, I'm still...
Yeah, I think so.
Sort your shit out, I'm still here.
Even to fans.
Yeah.
I think he has.
I love sending a message in sport. And people send a message just by competing and doing what they do.
Talking about age, if Mads is 29, Primoz is 35. So he's in what you would say is the back end of his career. But look at what Geraint Thomas has done in his 30s.
Yeah.
Like late 30s. So I think anybody...
The new 25, potentially.
Hello. LeBron James is 40.
Yeah.
With grey hair and all.
Yeah.
Slaying it.
Daily Cherry Evans, hello.
Yeah, look, let's not judge. Let's not judge when the salt and peppers come through, hey?
Well, hang on. Stop recording. Salt and peppers? Who are you talking about? All right. Anyway.
Moving on, Merksy.
Moving right on. Can we just ask you quickly, at his tail, speaking about the old and the young, Juan Ayuso with what they've called an implosion, but he'll be better for it, but did not let Primoz have much tyre space before he sort of lost grip of what he was doing.
Yeah, and I think, again, different tactics at different times of the year, and at these races, this is where, honestly, a lot of them are actually using them as training races. They hope to win, but if they don't, it's not huge stakes. And I think Ayuso, also talking about pressure, he's got a lot of pressure on him because he's been looked at as the next Tour winner, the next Tour winner, the next Tour winner, but he lives in the shadow of the biggest names we have, not least Pogačar.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he just couldn't match him. Like, it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
He did everything right, and he's got a lot of heart, because when you explode like that, it's because you've just gone to your absolute limit.
Yeah.
And it's because Primoz pushed him there.
It's going to happen. Cyclists break, and they don't do it lightly by any stretch. I love that Contador Alberto came out and said, this is a loss that will serve you really well.
Yeah, moments of growth.
Yeah. When you lose one late like that,
yeah,
and you explode like that, that next time you're going to let that, not going to let that.
I mean, the finale up Montjuic in Barcelona is amazing. It's so beautiful.
Mm.
So it's also just like a really beautiful race with a lot of history, and I think the athletes really love doing it as well.
Okay, all right. Well, moving right along, we said shades of 2019 with Primoz, but there wasn't any sticky tape this time around, so that was my only thing I wanted to...
Touch wood, touch wood, touch wood.
Yeah. Huge thing. Now, let's talk about the poo. So Mathieu van der Poel, who I think we have already seen most of our tips going his way. We haven't quite shared yours yet, though, Kate. You're remaining
get there.
Very tight-lipped on your tips.
For now.
She's just waiting to see if Wout tweets something before we air our tips.
Yeah, well, I think that Van der Poel's massive win in E3 Saxo Classic, it was like beast mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like he kind of made it look a little bit unfair, actually. And against people like Filippo Ganna, who's been in amazing form, we saw that at San Remo, Mads Pedersen, we've just talked about what a beast he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then in walks the poo.
In walks the poo.
And, it was just raw power, confidence,
yep.
Who is
composure.
your tip for Flanders, Catherine?
Pardon?
Who is your tip for Flanders?
Ooh, knowing that Podgy's on such a mission ahead of Paris-Roubaix, he'd definitely have to be up there. But I'm going to say Pedersen.
Okay.
Because I think when you have Van der Poel, when you have Van Aert still, people looking at him, when you have Pogačar, there's a lot of people to watch, and that's where Mads can sneak under. And he doesn't sneak under the radar. Everybody knows how good he is, but he's very good at those opportunistic moments.
Okay. The recent battles, and because the poo dropped the Peds here, is that ringing in his head, or is it what you were saying that not
timing.
every race at this time? Yeah,
it's
okay,
timing, right? And we're getting closer. And I think Pogačar, like you're like, if he moves in the last 100k, you have to go with him because that could be the moment.
Mm-hmm.
For Van der Poel, he's got a certain way that he rides and a style too. Pedersen mixes it up a bit. So that creates the opportunities because you can't go with everything, especially when it's a whittled down bunch. And in Flanders, you don't see a giant bunch. And if you look at Gent-Wevelgem as an example, in the women's race, there were 86 riders in the finale, like massive bunch sprint.
Yeah.
That Vibes won. You're not going to see that in Flanders.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have a full team to chase. It's really different when you're like, if they move, I've got one of 5, 6, 7 riders to chase. Not in Flanders.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
That's
putting it
my
out
view.
there. I'm saying Wout's going to win Flanders in a fairy tale.
Ooh.
Big team effort.
Okay. You're on the team of Wout's just
love to
been
see
Well, I
it.
hate tipping Wout.
foxing with us.
Yeah. I mean, from an
gonna
Aussie
explode.
perspective, we could see something interesting from someone like Luke Durbridge in a really long-range attack that then causes the back to splinter and split trying to get across to him.
Yep. Okay.
And we've seen heroic moments from the Aussies before. Hello, Matthew Heyman. Hello, Paris-Roubaix. Stuart O'Grady, same. Like, they might not go in as all-out favourites, but
they go in.
But they go in.
Yeah.
Got to be in it to win it.
I love that. That would be brilliant.
It would be.
The poo, what I love about the poo is that he's usually, it's like, what do you think about the opposition? Not really thinking about the opposition, really thinking about myself and my team. He's like, I'll tell you what I think about the opposition. I don't think they worked hard enough. I'm sick of them. If I'm making an effort, they're not matching my effort. They can all go get... That's basically what he said.
I mean,
I love that.
We've got the poo, the pog, the rog. Like, keep up, people.
It's like an early 90s era Batman movie.
I know.
The pog, the rog, the
if
bat.
anybody's stumbling across this and you're trying to keep up, just pause and Google the poo, the pog, the rog and see how you go.
And it'll come up.
I'm not responsible for what
With safe search
comes
on.
up with safe search.
See what the AI bot does with that one.
Oh, no. Don't. Really, really don't. On the women's side, though, I reckon Lotte Kopecky is almost unbeatable.
Yeah.
Because, yes, Longo Borghini had this, massive attack and showed how strong she is and how much form she's on, but Kopecky was second. And this just suits her so beautifully. It means a little bit more to her because it's a home race.
Mm-hmm.
So...
She wants to get her hands on that wheel of cheese.
Yeah, and again, for the Aussies, I think Ruby Roseman-Gannon is the one that can... sneak under the radar a little bit.
Can upset or can be in the mix?
Yeah, can be in the mix, but we've seen, again, same with the men. When you're in the mix, it can happen.
Yeah.
Remember Van der Poel's first Flanders, we thought he'd win and he lost in a 2-up sprint because he was toast.
But he learned from it, didn't he?
Yes,
Just like young Ayuso will do. You learn from those and look at him now.
Learn from it, Grandmaster.
For those random people, you're not random, we're random. For those people who are randomly tuning in, the next thing we were going to say about Van der Poel is that he's built like an AFL midfielder. So if you're not an AFL fan, look that one up.
Pause and Google.
He's robust. He's robustly framed and a powerful, powerful individual. We haven't spoken about Gunner yet. Are we Gunner? Because...
Yeah,
I'm going to get excited.
He's going to make an impact.
You're not liking him for the...
Again, it's the big framed riders. Well, because Flanders does have so many of the cobbled climbs, it is a little bit tougher for the really big framed riders because it's not like Milan-San Remo where, very long day, then they've got the Capaburda, the Cipressa, the Poggio. They're very clear defined moments of effort, but in between they get a fairly solid amount of recovery. You don't get that in Flanders because you might go over the cobble climb, but then you're still on cobbles in between. There's the wind. It's a much overall race of attrition. And so for those bigger framed guys over those cobbled climbs, they don't necessarily have the same ability to recover in between.
Yep.
But it depends how it's raced. So if it's raced, without a moment off the pedals, then it's tough. If it's a smaller group and people are taking a bit of a breather, different story.
Insight you will only get here on the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast. Catherine Bates, thank you very much. I think you're spot on.
Always. We're going to get Hank on the socials to give us his opinion too. He always has some.
He's got something to say about Ghana. For sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I just want to, so take yourself back to your racing days. So 2 weeks ago, you're leading into a race. Now, we talk about this all the time, but I just love it. I love his modern psych out techniques. Just the pogs quickly. I'm going to go and smash all the training. I'm going to go and just at Strava decimate this track. I'm just going to show everyone how easy it is. If you're seeing those a few weeks before you're fronting up to the start line, what's it doing to you?
Well, the best example I think I have is a track race, incidentally, but when Marianne Vos had won Road World Championships, Cyclocross World Championships, Mountain Bike World Championships, and decided to quite selfishly focus on the track.
Go away, Marianne!
And it didn't come from her, but from the media and from everybody else. They were like, oh, well, she's going to smash it. And a lot of people said to me, oh, geez, you must be nervous about Marianne Vos racing. And I honestly was like, she'll do what she does. I'll do what I do. I can't change what I'm doing because of what she does. So it was just pure noise to me. I will follow that up by saying the next track race that eventuated after that, Marianne Vos won. It was the World Championships, scratch race. She won, I got second, Danny King got third. The three of us were in a break. And when it came to the sprint, Marianne Vos accelerated and Danny and I, it looks like somebody put a wall up in front of us and just stopped.
Oh, no.
But, so if she hadn't have been there I would have won.
Yeah.
But she was there and I came second. I still did exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
The result was just different. But
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's how riders think about Pog. Like, you've still got to look at what vulnerabilities does he have. He's one rider out of 200. So there are opportunities to make chances, and that's where I think you get a more animated race, because people are like, well, you can't wait around for him to attack you in the last 20K because chances are he'll have fresher legs. So, yeah, I mean, I think by the time you're racing Flanders, unless it's your first one, it's just all noise. And if it's your first one, well, that's never a particularly fun experience, to be honest.
Are we looking at an opponent so formidable that all of those, oh, well, he could do this or he could do that, or maybe he's going to do that, or maybe it just becomes too much and a bit of an overload?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you focus on what everybody else is doing too much, it certainly takes away from the energy you can focus into your own preparation. No question.
You know who could take him down?
Tell me.
Nielsen Paulus.
Geez, he's looking good, isn't he?
USA, represent. There's so much to play
Yep.
for at the moment.
Yeah, he's in really great form. And again, I think when there's so many guys who we could talk about getting a great result, you can't mark everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you almost have to rank prioritise in your mind. If Pog goes, you have to chase it. If Nielsen Paulus goes, straight after Pog's gone, can you afford to chase him if then maybe the next move is Pog? You know, so you have to consider that in every reaction. And they're the moments sometimes where you get that hesitation and everybody looks at each other like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And it depends how many teammates you have. If you have no teammates, when it's down to a group of 10 different teams, you're not working together. Nobody else is going to chase for you. So you have to decide in the moment.
Yeah.
You hesitate, the gap's open. It can be as simple as that.
You're in international waters. You've got to just, okay.
Absolutely.
Really nicely described. One Aussie we haven't spoken about, and if he's definitely starting, but Bling Matthews has more top fives there than I've had hot dinners, Kate.
Oh, he's been so consistent this season. You know, it was such a shame to not see him on the podium at Milan-San Remo. So he's probably the next tier down, I would say, in Flanders from your Van Aerts and your Podge.
Is he
and
a spicy
Pedersen.
pick? Is this what you like to call a spicy
Yeah,
pick?
I reckon I'd call him a spicy pick.
Okay.
I'm not a betting person, but if I was, he'd be the person to make money on. You know, because it's not so long odds that it's ridiculous. It's not such short odds that what's the point?
But it's not inconceivable that he could pull something out.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I love a good surprise. You
Yep.
don't get them that often. The predictability, you know, that through the whole Froome era, everybody was like, it's so predictable.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't worked out like that. Classics or Tour, you know, thanks to Jonas stepping up and Remco coming through, like the predictability's gone. I like that.
That's really good.
Okay, Pog's a bit predictable, but outside of that.
Mate Mohoric is in your spicy list as well.
He is, because I think that we've seen over the years the way he launches attacks and just his heart. Like, again, remember
got
the
a motor.
interview? It's the interview
Yeah.
where he just shows how much it means to him. And they're the moments, because you are suffering. It is horrendous out there and you have to draw on everything. And when you know that there are riders out there that ride with so much passion and resilience and determination and grit, you never, ever write them off.
Okay.
In short.
You know, he was my first, this guy's a weapon Tour de France rider.
Yeah. Well,
I think he won a stage from led for 400 kilometres. I'm making it up, but led for a long time and just perpetual motion.
Because you remember those moments, right? Like, Merksy, what was your entering cycling moment? Because we all have them. For me, it was Miguel Indurain at the Tour de France, and I wore Benesto kit as a kid.
Yeah.
Got the jacket, a winter jacket for Christmas off my dad. I loved it. But if yours was Mohoric, Merksy?
Oh, I'm going to say Sagan winning Roubaix.
I didn't see that one coming at all.
That was predictable, wasn't it?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the day you drove behind the truck that had the big rear view mirrors and you were positioned right behind him, so you finally got to see how good you look in Lycra. That was the day that you knew
that's number
cycling.
Yep.
Yeah, was here to stay.
And just quickly before we do move on, I want to mention Puck Peters in the women.
Yep.
Because I think she's my big spicy pick on the women's side.
Why do you like that?
Well, because she's got incredible skills from cyclocross. She's also stepped up in some road races, with very steep trajectory of improvement.
And she has a great name.
She's got a great name.
And she's Dutch.
And she's Dutch. Yeah, so that's it.
There's some good
great name,
there.
Dutch, and a gun of a rider.
But you're right, those transferable skills, and the more we're seeing proficiency in cyclocross turn into domination on the track, it's becoming more and more of a
there's
indicator.
So much nervous energy burnt worrying about those races or where you're going to sit in the bunch.
Yeah.
For some riders, it takes a lot of energy to hold position. That was actually something I felt really lucky with. Because I'd come from track, because I'd ridden from a young age, I always felt really comfortable in the bunch. So if I drifted back, I never felt too stressed about moving up. I mean, unless, it was single file and my engine ran out. But in terms of skills, but for the riders who that's not their strong point, that's so stressful, and you lose sleep over it.
Yeah,
in the days, weeks leading into these races, because for you, you have the engine, but you've got to survive. If you then look on the other side of that, people like Puck Peters, she's literally got nothing to lose. She's like, I've got kind of the best skills in the whole bunch, so if my engine holds out, I'll be good.
I'll actually be in a position to do really, really well.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to go into a race.
Well, good luck to everyone. Thank you for your insights on that. Now, you've been really busy yourself, and as we mentioned earlier, Scotty McStory bringing the love from the Track Nationals. Now, there's some emotional scenes out there last week, the Aussie Track Nats at the house that Anna built in Chandler, which is, of course, confirmed as a multi-prong Olympic venue across parasports, cycling, BMX, I believe, as well last week. So go Chandler. We love to hear that. But let's just start with the comeback that you talk about fairy tales and things that you can't script, and surely not. But yeah, Kai Sakakibara getting back on and taking a medal, not just any colour of medal, by the way, in a comeback that many thought was absolutely not ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And we have become so accustomed to watching him supporting his sister around the world, obviously. Emotional packages that we watch on TV of that. But that's kind of the place. I didn't realise that this was going to materialise the way it has, and to be there, that must have been something else.
Yeah. Kai Sakakibara winning after his brain injury, goosebumps. A gold medal in the C1 Para 1,000-metre time trial. Almost a moment that words can't describe, to have been part of the journey, from the media point of view and interested parties the whole time. It's just an incredible moment for him and for the family who've been working so hard. He's been doing para rowing for a little while and was looking at representing Australia in LA in para rowing.
Would have done it too.
And now, he's felt comfortable enough to step into cycling, and straight away results. Like, it just really is. It's a moment of the year already. Yeah. I can say that. With a long year ahead, it'll be hard to beat the moment of him standing on the podium and the big smile and the satisfaction.
Doesn't come without pressure. Like, at the same time, there is obviously an understanding of what this guy's been through and everything, but the spotlight and I won't call it expectation, because people weren't running books on Kai coming back and winning everything. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't there. That sort of, you have been the story, but peripheral to the story, obviously, because, Saya's done everything she has and you've been through what you have, but you actually being there front and centre competing, that hasn't been the narrative for so long, and it was in a big way to then prevail like that.
Yeah.
Geez, he's got it.
There'd be pressure, and we saw that with Alexis Leary at the Paralympics last year. She put an enormous amount of pressure on herself, even though everyone around her was saying, just have fun.
Just enjoy yourself.
Of course they do, because for them it's not just the pressure of racing and wanting the outcome. It's, will my body hold up to this?
Yeah.
Can I do it? Will everything? Because the para-athletes have such an incredible journey. No day looks the same. It's not like the able-bodied who, for the most part, other than maybe getting sick or injured, it's a fairly predictable progression. They're on a very different journey, and it really does take a huge amount of courage and bravery as an individual to even get back out there. So,
well, this wasn't on his mind, 18, 24 plus months ago, when you were still contemplating walking, talking,
Well, that's it.
eating, like, literal function.
And he lifts the spirit. Everybody is so invested in seeing him succeed and for his family. And so, really special moment.
Still one of the more emotional gold medals
Totally.
from Paris, of course, as well, was Saya. And that reaction for her, that was obviously for him as well. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when she found out about this win, because it just would have been really good to see. That bond is incredible. And I'm getting a little bit teary talking about it. Salute, hat tip, big wheelhouse. Shout out to him. Let's slide into his DMs, Merksy, and just get him to come on the show. I think he's earned that.
I think so.
Okay, fantastic.
More than. He'll kick us off.
Probably. The wheelhouse brought to you by Sakaya and Saya. I'd watch it.
I'd watch it too.
Okay. Wasn't the only thing awe-inspiring. Ella Liang, whew.
Yeah.
Hello.
To me, the moments of history are it's such a privilege to be a commentator. In Paris, being in the Velodrome when we won Olympic gold medal, they're the moments that you remember exactly what it smelt like, what it sounded like. And
awesome.
For me to watch Ella Liang break the junior world record in the 1 kilometre time trial, she'd kind of flagged it as something she wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
Her qualifying time was about 0.4 off the world record. So yes, it was within reach, but she absolutely smashed it. So she took a full second off her qualifying time to do it. But it's been a really interesting ride because she's held the record before. On the 14th of February, she won Oceanias. On the 15th of February, it got broken again by Sorda Hasbulla from Malaysia. And so it was only a day there. And,
it happens.
Yes. And so she then stepped up and did it. It was incredible. Really, truly a moment of history. It's for a venue to get a world record, for someone to get a world record. I had a direct view down to Bear and Felicity, and I literally thought Bear was going to wet his pants. I saw Felicity afterwards, and I was still commentating when she came in, and I just sort of said, "Wow!" and she was just shaking her head.
Where am I?
Just really incredible, because how many people in the world can say they've ever had a world record? Because I can say I've been world champion, but I haven't had a world record. So it's something different again.
It's incredible.
Yeah, so we've got the junior men's as well with Tate Ryan. So go Aussies.
And like you say, these are elite times, not just for juniors. This is elite cycling at that age.
Yeah.
It's holy shite.
Yeah, a lot goes into it, and she did amazingly. So I'm very proud of her and the family.
The family that gives so much to the sport, Bear and Felicity, Ella, obviously amazing success.
And what was amazing in the medal wrap-up was how well Balmoral Cycling Club did as a club. Mm-hmm. They would have won the overall medal count.
Well, now they have a home again, Kate.
I know, out at Muzz.
Yeah, the poor buggers. Yeah. Gee whiz. Shout out to any more, the team, everyone from out there. Great club. Production line of champions. What a cool event though. In a big week for sport, basically, with the world's eyes descending on the southeast and whether or not we're going to get shit built in time. Good to know the velodrome's already there. Now, Catherine, last year I spoke to a number of people, Sandy and co, that were involved with Beyond for Traction. Now you're doing a little bit this year. Let's give them a bit of a mention, because
we give them all the support we can. So it's 800k of riding. It's for a purpose, and it's to support young people with life skills and through cycling. So I say, great cause. Go support them. Check it out, and let's all get around it.
Now this the young people involved in this as a diversionary engagement exercise, the benefits that come off the back of this, it's not just one of those programs where they turn up on the day and have a bit of fun. The actual life skills and the professional development that this program offers is right up there. Yeah. As far as this kind of function goes, this one is a real standout.
It is, and I love any programs that help kids develop life skills.
Yeah.
And take them away from what could be challenging situations, and give them the skills and the autonomy to sort life out themselves, because I think that's really important. It's not about just giving them money and they go sort it out. It's about giving them life skills.
Totally.
That's great. If somebody could give me some, that would be very helpful.
If there's any leftovers. But those initiatives, they don't just end when the event or the donation campaign ends.
Yeah.
These events, these check-ins, these young people, 12, 24, 36 months on, that's where this sort of stuff really starts to take an impact. And
Bron Victor is always, Sisters of the Saddle. They throw their support behind it. So sensational.
We love it. We love it. SOTs and traction.
We got to. What about the jersey? We got to tell them about the jersey. You could win the jersey.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah,
thanks, Merxy.
Let me read it then.
Thanks, Merxy.
And pass on our thanks to Luke as well.
They have a Pogacar World Champion signed jersey.
Here it is.
And there it is. Thanks, Merxy.
Hang on. If they click on that QR code, they can enter. I've bought 98 tickets.
They're only selling 100 tickets.
Okay.
So $100 a ticket, 100 tickets. That's pretty good odds.
Is that a match worn? Is it?
Yeah, it's worn. It's worn.
No
it's
way.
Drawn on the 1st of May at 8 p.m.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Get amongst it. And do it quickly because I don't think tickets will be available much longer. Especially Joel is literally on his computer right now.
I didn't realise it was match worn. That changes
everything.
That is just fantastic.
What a cool prize. I want it in here.
Very cool. Thank you. Thanks for the reminder, Merxy.
This is the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast. It's great to be back in the bunker. We're going to get Hank, obviously, we're talking spring, we're talking tips. We're going to get some stuff. We're going to have some friendly competition. Please let us know on the socials what you think of the wisdom of our experts, Kate, Hank, and Merxy. That's where that ends. And please, let's see how we all go. Are we doing are we putting a special team into any, special?
Ooh, like a tipping comp?
Yes.
Leave that with me.
I'll leave that.
Leave that with me. Before we come on air, you were telling me about Bruce and his lap around Australia.
I do want to mention Bruce Baldwin from CQ. Bruce lost his wife a couple of years ago to a brain aneurysm, and Bruce has had some health struggles himself. He's tied up with the Cure Brain Cancer Foundation, basically. He's like, what can I do? Like, I'm not very fit. I sort of struggle a bit with, exercise and all that, but I just want to do something to really stand out. It's like, okay, well, you could do something small. You could walk from here to, across town. You could do like a 10-kilometre. Oh, okay, yeah, that doesn't really do it. Why don't you do a 20-kilometre walk? Okay, what about a bike ride? I don't really know how to ride a bike. You reckon you could learn? Yeah, okay. How about I ride around Australia? 16,000 kilometres, raising money for brain cancer research in memory of his wife, Natalie, who died after their 30 years together rather suddenly. So important awareness, and it's one of those things, it's a sport for everyone, and the way that it can sort of advocate awareness and bring people together. And you know what? Encourage someone to say, I don't know if I can do that, but I'll give it a go anyway. Love that about cycling. Good luck
on
to
you, Bruce. Yeah, we're supporting you and following along, and I think what a wonderful way to take his journey of grief and turn it into something that he will be so proud of himself.
Did you say 16,000 kilometres?
16,000, yeah. He's only given himself... now, keep in mind, this guy's not a bike rider, okay? He's given himself 6 months. Might seem like Lockie Morton would say, I'll do the whole world in that time, but that's pretty bloody good. It's audacious. His fundraising targets are high.
Should we send him some chamois cream?
I was hoping you'd bring that up. I kind of have promised some.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. All right, Bruce. Look out in your mailbox for a delivery.
We're looking to raise $10 million for clinical trials, basically. New meds, new recovery, new treatment, all of that. All of that sort of stuff around it. So good luck to you, Brucey boy.
Get on it.
Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Send us AI pictures of cobblestones because we love that sort of stuff.
And say hi to your mum for me.
Good on you, Rove. See you next time.